Hey, everyone. Good morning or afternoon, wherever you are. Let me make sure that the light's on. Okay, we're receiving good. How's it going, everybody? This is Trading on the Nadex platform. I'm Adam McCaden, and we're going to jump right into it. Uh, my computer, there we go. Okay, awesome. So yeah, we're gonna jump right into it. This is something you've probably seen if you have come to any Nadex webinar or any Nadex video. It is the disclaimer that trading on Nadex, it requires risk, just like trading anywhere. You can't make no reward without the risk that you put up, right? Um, I'm going to be placing some trades on the platform today to show you how to go throughout the platform, how to place trades. None of my trades I'm going to be placing are recommendations to actually place a trade to make any trade. And in fact, I'm going to be choosing them pretty randomly, so it's probably not a good idea to try to copy the trades I make today. Anyway, um, and so that's basically what this says. Nothing I say or nothing Nadex is saying is solicitation or recommendation to buy or sell anything. Give it one more second on here, but really, if you should be able to read through this fairly quickly. So we'll go on to the next screen here. About me. This is a picture of me before the pandemic when I had a shorter beard and shorter hair. I have been working at Nadex for about 4 years now. I've been on the focused heavily on our products and platforms for the last 3 years, I should say 3. Everything that we built with this new platform and the new products, I've been heavily involved in. And so that's why I like doing these sessions to try to teach everyone how to trade on the platform itself. And just in my personal life, I've been trading, and I should update this slide because it's about 12 years ago now, which is crazy to think about, but around when I was 18. And generally, I trade mostly equity options. Um, would love to trade on Nadex if I could, but as an employee of the exchange, I cannot trade on Nadex. All right, we'll get off this screen so you only have to see one version of my face. Here's a quick agenda. We're really going to flow through this just so we can get into the platform, kind of the meat and potatoes of this thing. So we're going to go through the layout, placing your orders, managing your positions. We're going to go over the settings. There's a lot there. We're not going to go over any kind of charting thing today. We've kind of set it up that every other week, one week we do the platform, the next week we do the charting, and we kind of switch back and forth. So generally it'll be on Thursdays around this time when I'll be doing that. So if you want the charting webinar, you can come back on a Thursday, or you can go always look it up on our YouTube site. All right, enough of me talking. Let's get over to the platform here. So let's get out. All right, here we have the platform login page. You're going to get here by just going to nadex.com, nadex.com and hitting login. I will now log into the demo account here. And my I like Nadex account and my super secret password. And Google wants to save that, but I won't let it. All right, here we are. We are in the platform itself. I will also say before we get into the thick of it, I do have a new feature that we've been working on that I can show you. It's not in the demo platform yet. I'm going to show that here at the end. So if you do want to stick around at the end, or if you're watching this on YouTube, you can always skip to the end. But I will be showing one of the new features that we've been working on at the end of this that will be live in the coming weeks. It's a pretty cool one that I'm pretty excited about. One other thing before I jump into the bread and butter here is that if you do have any questions, I do on my second screen over here have all the questions up, and I will be looking over there periodically, so feel free to ask me any questions. I'll answer them as we go along. Just make sure that everyone is on the same page with everything. So without further ado, we'll jump into the platform here. First thing you'll see when you come right in, besides our awesome little charting that goes across the middle here, the left-hand side, this is going to be where you actually choose your products and your markets to trade. Going across the top, we have the binary options, we have the call spreads, and we have the knockouts. You can click on either of these. You'll see very similar markets between them all. The only extra one you'll usually see is on binary. Often you'll see our event contracts down here. There are none live right now because they all expired this morning, but generally you will see the events as well. You also have the 5 and the 20-minute binaries. So let's start with the binaries here today. That is one of the more popular products here on Nadex. I'm going to click, let's choose a Forex product today. And, I don't know, what do we want to do? Let's do pound dollar today. Let's do some good old cable trades. So we have pound dollar. I'm going to choose a 2 hour, but you'll notice as I'm scrolling down, you can scroll down through all of the market itself. So starting in alphabetical order, and as you scroll down, you'll also see all the expiration time. So you'll not only see the duration of the contract, right? So you see kind of the 2 hour 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. contract, but on the right hand side, you also see how much time is left in those contracts. For right now, I'm going to do, again, I said we do pound dollar, I think. And let's do that 12 p.m. to 2 p.m. contract, just because that one just launched. That's a 2 hour that just launched. And so it's going to have the most pricing on these strikes. So if I click on any of these, we'll see our strikes come down. So we see kind of our strike ladder here. These are all the strike prices that you will be able to trade on with the pricing as well. And you can click on any of these and you'll see them all. This one, obviously not a lot of pricing because it's nearing the end of a daily. Then we go back to the 2 hour and there's a lot more of these contracts pricing. So let's choose one that's right around the money right now. One other thing I'll point out that next to every market, couldn't think of the word of market. Next to every market, we have the indicative price here. So you can see the pound dollar is trading at around 137.849 right now. And so let's choose a fairly in the money contract. So you can either click on sort of the strike price itself or on the buy or the sell side. I'm going to click the buy side just so we get a buy side contract that comes up here. I'm also going to take off my indicator here very quickly. You'll notice that when I actually click on this, and let's do a 15-minute window here so you can see all the strikes. So you'll notice when I actually click on the strike itself, not only does it bring up on the right-hand side the ticket, the deal ticket, but it also brings up the chart in the middle of the platform as well. Also on the chart, I'm not going to go too much into the charting today. Again, we sort of alternate. So if you do want more charting, you can come back next Thursday. Actually, I think it's next month. But I will say, so when you bring it up, you can see all the strikes overlaid on the chart itself, and you can also choose your buy and your sell from the strike, and you'll see that it moves on the right-hand side in the deal ticket. But going over to the actual deal ticket here, first of all, again, we see the indicative price. We have the indicative price all over, and that's basically because that's what you're looking at. That's what you're looking at compared to the actual strike price itself. Then you also see when it expires. So we have an hour and 50 minutes left in this 2 hour contract. So we're only about 10 minutes into the duration of this contract currently. And then going down, we actually have the contract name, and it's sort of written like a question in the deal ticket. So will pound dollar finish higher than 137.82 at 2 p.m. Eastern time today? We have the buy side. So if you think that is a good proposition, you think it is going to finish higher, you could buy something on the buy side. Right now, the buy is pricing right around between 72 and 74. As I'm speaking, it's always moving up and down. If you think it is not going to finish higher than that price point, so if you think it's going to finish lower than or equal to that 137.82 price point, you could choose the lower side, the sell side, and that's priced around 64, 66, somewhere in there. Again, moving around as I speak. So we're going to go with the buy side here today, for the first one at least, just for teaching everything here. As we move down the deal ticket, we see our show market depth. So clicking on this is going to show you the market depth. If you aren't familiar with what the market depth is, this is going to show you all of the orders out there on the order book, right? So if you don't have this, you're just going to see these top prices. So you're just going to see the 65 on the sell side and the 70 on the buy side. But when you click into it, you can see everyone that is placing orders on the underlying market, sorry, not the underlying market, on the underlying order book. And so you can see, okay, if I were to go ahead and buy all 100 contracts at $69, then the remaining contracts would be these ones below, similar with the sell side. And I'll also show you that if you as a trader go ahead and put in a limit order, it does show up on the order book itself. So you can actually see your own orders or other traders' orders on the market depth right now. And we'll show that in 1 second. For this, I'm going to hide this just so we can see everything a little bit easier. Right then, going down, we have our order type. There are 2 order types on Nadex. There is the limit GTC, which is currently selected as on my screen. There is also the market order. very quickly. The market order is going to be what you want to do to get into the contract at the best available market price. So if I just want to get in at very basically the price that I'm seeing quoted on these buy or sell blocks up here, I could choose market price, and that's going to get me into whatever the best price is available in the market. For the limit order, and you'll see obviously when I have a market price selected, I just have size down here, so I can change how many I'm selecting. I can also type that in. But when I go to the limit order, I'll also have the option to put in a price, and that's because for the limit order, I select my own price I would like to pay. So I could say, maybe this contract is currently trading at $66. I only want to pay $50 for this contract. Maybe I think pound dollar is going to go down and then it's going to come back up. I could put in $50 and I could pay that price for this contract. For this first one though, we're just going to go with the market order, probably a little bit easier to explain. So we're going to go market order, size 1. We have our max loss and our max profit. The max loss is always going to be equal to what you actually pay to get into the contract. Now, this is actually, you'll see it's $10 over the what's actually being quoted here. That's because of the market order with protection level. But the upside of this, or the big takeaway of this, without going too in depth into what the market order with protection is that when you actually get in, your max loss on any contract, not just binaries, any contract on the exchange is going to be what you pay to get into the contract, right? So a lot of other places where there might be margin or something like that, you might actually be able to lose more than your initial upfront cost. Here in Nadex, if you pay $75 to get into a contract, your max loss is going to be $75. Going on with that, let's say $75 price point there, if I were to get in at 75, my max profit would be 100 minus 75 is going to give me a $25 max profit, and you can see it's doing that as well. It's $100 minus what I'm paying to get in here. So let's just place the order and let's get into this, and I'll then go back and explain these two panels here as well. So we placed that order, we got into our contract here. We also see our little order confirmation come up that just confirmed that we bought one contract at the price that we bought it at. Before we get down to managing our positions, the managed position level at the bottom here, I'm going to go over as well this max ROI and the probability in the money. So these are two fairly new features that I think give a very good explanation as to what's going on with the actual contract before you get into it. So first of all, the max ROI is your max return on investment. So if let's go to a limit order so I can do this a little bit better. So if I were to do a $50, so it's actually going on, it goes off the market price. So we can do off the market price. So my max ROI right now, and if I hover over this, it kind of tells you what it is. It's the maximum return on investment. So if I have $77 to get into a contract and my max profit is $25, and you take basically 75 over 25, or actually, sorry, 25 over 75, that's giving you a max ROI of about 30%. Now that's not exactly what it's showing because these numbers are moving around, so it's not exactly 75. Then we have the probability in the money, and again, you can read all this here, but the max ROI is very important to know for how much you can actually make for the amount of money you're placing into into the trade, right? Always good to kind of have that risk and reward balance. So that's really what the max ROI percentage is telling you. Going down to the probability in the money, basically what the probability in the money is saying is your probability that this will expire in your favor, that it'll be in the money on the buy side or the side that is selected, right? So if I select the sell side, it changes. Going off of this and how this is calculated, because a binary is priced out of $100, the probability in the money, basically what the market is saying is the midpoint of these two prices. So let's say that, I know these are moving around right now, but let's say that it's $70 on the sell side, 75 on the buy side. The midpoint of that's going to be 72.5. That means your probability that this expires in your favor on the buy side is going to be 72.5, or at least that's what the market is showing, right? Because it's priced out of 100, you can think of it as like 100 total percent. The 72.5 there is going to be that midpoint. The market's sort of telling you that the market thinks there's a 72.5% chance that this expires in your favor. Now you'll see when I actually went over to the sell side, and actually I'll select this. there's a very interesting relationship with the max ROI and probability of the money. As the probability goes up that this will expire in the money, the max ROI goes down, right? Because you have a higher probability that this is going to pay out for you, your return is going to be lower because you're risking more, but there's a high probability it's in your favor. If you, let's say you get into a $10 contract, right? Your max ROI on a $10 contract is going to be something like 1,000%, right? Or like 900%, right? Because you're paying $10 to get in, you have $100 or $90 total profit you get. So 90 over 10 is a nice 900% profit probability, or sorry, profit ROI. But the probability that that hits is only going to be about 10%, right? So we can go down and we can see that happening. If I click on one with, $6 here, massive ROI, right? If this were actually to expire in my favor, we would get 1,500% return on investment, but the probability that happens is very, very low. And so that's the trade-off you're doing with all of these. So I know I spent a good bit of time on this, but it is something that's very important to understand, especially with binary options. You can also sort of see it with the chart itself, right? This needs to move all the way up here to be in my favor. If it does that, I get a massive payout, but there's not a high percent chance that it does that. While, if I'm all the way down here, I'm not going to get very much profit, but there's a very large chance that I do get the little profit I will receive. So again, if any of this is confusing, you can always click on these little information bubbles. There's this little see more that'll take you out to a blog post where you understand it a little bit better. I don't want to spend too much time because I want to keep this in sort of the 45-minute hour window that we have here today. But I do think that's a very important point to remember, and something that we did just recently add to give you, the trader, a little bit more insight into what's happening into your contract. So moving on down here to our the area where we manage the position. And actually, I just realized there's one more thing I want to show, but I'll show that in a second. I'll go over the managing position part first. So we'll go left to right. We'll go over this pretty quickly because a lot of this is very self-explanatory. So we have our type. This is binary options. If this is a call spread or a knockout, it would say call spread or knockout. We have our contract. This is the name of the contract. We see $$ greater than 13782. So we have our market and our strike line, or our line in the sand we need to be above. We have our probability in the money. So that's also going to show here, the price that we, or the probability that we got when we got into this contract. We have the indicative price. So we're showing that indicative. The expiration time it's going to expire, as well as the time left. So we have 1 hour 40 left in this contract. Our position here, so we only got into one contract, and it says +1. If we were in a sell side contract, and let's say we got into 4 of a sell side contract, it would say -4. And there we go, that went through. So it'd say -4. So it's short. If it's blue, it's you have a buy side contract. If it's red, you have a sell side contract. The plus and the minus also tell you there. We have our average price that we paid. So the average price we paid for this buy side contract was $72.75, and currently it's trading at $74.50 or $75. The current price is one that I want to talk about a little bit more and go into a little bit more detail. So the average price, obviously, that's the average price we paid. And if I, got into more, it'd just be the average of both contracts, but I only got into one. The current price, however, is going to be the current price that we can exit the contract for right now. And so this is important. So the current price, it's not, you'll see as it's moving up and down, this current price is equal to what it's showing on the sell side of this contract. That's because if I were to exit the contract right now, I would get back the money that I would receive for getting out of the contract right now. The best available price would be the sell side, right? Because I buy to get into this contract. I need to sell if I would like to exit this contract early. That also then goes into the profit and loss, right? So and the profit and loss is always going to be what I could currently sell out of this contract for minus what I pay to get into the contract for, right? So this current minus the average is going to give me my P&L, right? So we can see right here, 72 minus 72, so it's 75. That's going to give me a loss right now of about 50 cents. The really important thing to understand about these three numbers here, and especially the profit and loss, is that the P&L is only the P&L if you exit the contract right now. It is not the profit and loss if the contract were to expire right And that is a very important point because I could exit this contract right now for, actually I could get out for basically around what I paid to get into it, right? So, it's fluctuating, but I got in for about 72. Let's say I could get out for about 72, not including fees. That means I just it's a wash on this trade, right? But if this contract were to expire right now, we see that our line in the sand, right, it needs to be higher than this point on the chart. Let's zoom in here. Let's zoom in here. So it has to be higher than this line for this contract, and obviously it is, right? The market's up here, our contract's right here. So if the contract were to expire right now, right, we saw that hour 37, well, let's say this says like 30 seconds, and it goes and it expires, I would receive the whole $100 payout, and my profit would be $100 minus whatever I paid to get in, so about $28, give or take, right, about $27.25. So again, it's a very important thing to remember. If this number is just what you would get if you got out right now, it is very possible for that number to be negative, right? So I could be, let's say I got into a contract at 90. The market's kind of gone against me a little bit, so now I could sell out of this contract for 70 bucks. That'd be like a $20 loss. But if the contract were to expire, I would still get the $100 payout, which means I'm going to make $10 on the contract. So I do always belabor this point a little bit just because I think it is something that sometimes our traders do get a little bit confused on. And it is important to remember that P&L is just for the P&L. If you were to exit right now, it is not the P&L for when the contract expires. And so obviously you can always get out of these contracts early. Now in the past, you would just have to click on the contract itself and put in sort of an opposing position. However, we very recently put in a new little bit of functionality, and that's going to be this close button here on the managing positions window. So I can hit the close button, and now I can actually just set my own sort of closing position. Right now, is this will actually put in a market order, and it'll get me out at whatever the best available market price is, and it calculates the current market price, the current P&L. So it's showing you what's down here, but kind of explaining what I just explained in a little bit better format. It's easier, I think, to understand than just clicking on the contract itself and placing an opposing position. So I can click close position here. We see our average price, current market price. If I get out of this, I'll get about 75 cents. Now this is without fees, so actually I'd be losing money if we took fees into account. But I can hit that close position, and there we go. It got me out of that position. You see it disappeared from down here, my buy side position, right? So that is going to be basically the positions panel. I can go over to the orders panel as well. And while I do that, let me place in. Actually, let's do $CAD. I want to keep these separate so we can really keep an eye on what's going on here. Right now, I'm going to place a limit order. So if I place the limit order, just like what we were talking about earlier, let's say this contract right now trading at $50. I think, that's way too expensive for this specific contract. I want to wait till it goes down to $25, and I want to buy it at that point. So I can place an order to do that automatically. I say when it goes down to 25, let me get into that contract. So I place the order, and now obviously I didn't just get into that contract because I'm trying to get it as a price way lower than what's available in the market. But that's going to go over my orders panel. So this is where you can see your working orders. These are orders that are out there on the exchange that haven't been filled yet. I can also see my order there, like I was saying earlier. This is my $25 order. I can see it out there on the order book, and all of you can go out and test this. If you go on demo, you place a limit order, you can then go in, see the market depth, and you can see it sitting out there. And if it ever gets down to that point, and that this order is up here on the top of the book, it's the best available price on the order book. Someone might take that order off my hands and I'd get it at that $25 point. But until then, the contract's going to stay down here in my working order panel. So we have, again, our type, we have our contract name, so $CAD greater than 12682. We have our indicative again, so our indicative is trading just above at 126829. Again, expiration, again, time left, size, so all the same stuff as on the positions panel. We have our filled here. So this is how many of our contracts have actually been filled. Right now it's 0. We have 1 sitting out there. We have no filled, and we have the price that we want it to be filled at. That's 25. and our current price. This is actually going to be the buy side price on this one, because that's really what we're looking at, right? We're looking at that price, getting this current price, getting down to this price. That's when that's going to be filled. If it does do that, it will go over to my participant panel and become an active contract. So that's going to be really all of the bottom panel here. I will go over the 24-hour history here. I don't honestly use this too much, but I know some people do. This is going to be a 24-hour order history. This is going to show you everything with the order. So you can see here, I have these orders sent, order filled. When you get into a contract, there's going to be two whole lines. In this panel, you're going to have your order sent, essentially setting it out to the exchange, and then you're going to have when it gets filled. I actually use the more in-depth history, which I'll show you in a little bit. But if you do just want a quick 24-hour order history, you can click on this panel. It does show you that as well. Very quickly, because I just realized there is one thing I didn't show on the actual deal ticket itself, and that's our tear-off tickets. This is something I use fairly often. So you can actually pop these deal tickets off into their own window. And I'll show you that right now. I don't know why I was just explaining it without actually showing. So there we go. You can see I popped the deal ticket off. I can now move it around my screen. If I have a second screen, which I do, and this is how I generally set it up. You can't see it, it's over here. But I'll take my orders off and I'll put them on my second screen, right? Now, what I like to do with this a lot, because this is by itself, it's pretty good, but what I really like to do is, so you can actually go back to the price ladder as well. So I can go back and I can see, okay, here's where all the prices for this contract are sitting. But let's say I like trading the dollar CAD and the euro dollar and the pound dollar. I really like trading Forex here. And I like having all of them up at the same time. What I can do, and I'm going to pull these off the screen for a second, but I'll bring it back in a second. I can go and I can open up different markets here and I can tear them off. And again, I'm taking them off screen, but what I'm doing here is I'm clicking on the market, I'm pulling it up, and I'm clicking this tear off right here. And so now that I have this up, what I like to do is I like to go back to the price ladder. I'll have all of them on, my second screen here, and I can go and I can say, okay, let's say I have the 2 o'clock expiration. I like trading these 2 o'clock 2-hour expirations. I have all my price ladders right next to each other. Now I can look at all of these. I can say, okay, what's happening in all these markets? Where are all these markets moving? Maybe there's a massive move in one particular market or an indice market or a commodity market, whatever I like to trade. I can sort of see this happening in real time. I can also pull the charts up as well, right, to do that as well. I generally just do the price ladder, but if you want to do the charts, you can obviously do that too. But I really like this just because you can see a lot of different markets at the same time. And if a market's on the run, moving one direction, moving the other, you can kind of see the prices, flying one way or the other, getting priced one way or the other on these. So just a little trick, little tidbit that I like to use to set up my platform when I'm doing some demo trades and when I'm monitoring the market and other aspects of the job that I do here at Nadex. So again, that's just a little tear off button up here. And again, you can do the charts as well, and you can click into the ticket and place a trade quickly from the ticket itself. And just to show you, yes, you can actually get into the contract from the ticket. You can see it down here. So I'm going to exit out of all of these for right now. But that's going to be everything with the deal ticket. One other thing, you can hide the deal ticket and you can hide the order panel on the top and bottom. So you hide the ticket with those little arrows, and you can hide this and the side panel as well. So these little double arrows that you see on the platform, you can click it to get that down, click it to get it back up. And again, the hide on the left-hand side, you can click that to go away. When you do that on the left-hand side, when you do that on the ticket, you do have to actually click like on the chart or on the price ladder on the markets tab to get that back up. One other thing on the Finder very quickly here, because I don't want to spend too much time on the Finder, we have this refresh button. What this does, and now you can't see it on my screen right now, but let's say I'm trading on this for a while, I'm trading past 1 p.m. Eastern. So what will happen is this will end, these top contracts that end at 1 p.m., they will end. And the platform actually doesn't automatically refresh the available markets. So you can just hit this refresh. It's actually going to refresh this panel. You can't see it doing anything right now because there aren't any contracts that need to be refreshed. But when there are, if I, after 1 p.m., if I'm still on this, this would say closed. I can hit this refresh button. It's going to take this away, and it would show me the next 2-hour contract, which would be the 1 p.m. to 3 p.m. contract. So I think we've gotten through the side deal ticket panel. We've gotten through the bottom panel and sort of the side finder window. We're moving through pretty quickly here. Next, I'll go over this top panel here. So moving over on just the top panel, we have, first of all, the platform status. Generally, this is going to be operational. We have, I think it's something like 99.9% uptime on the platform itself. So almost never are you going to have to have that say anything other than operational. However, if there is anything ever that happens to the platform, we're doing emergency maintenance because something has happened, you can see it reflected here in this platform status. And if you click on it, it does pop you out to a status page that's maintained. The only other thing that's really interesting on this page, you can see they're all operational, is this trading halts and exceeded price limits. We put this in last March or so when the underlying markets kept getting halted. If any of you were trading during that time, you remember that with the pandemic and everything, there were massive moves in the underlying market. The S&P was dropping like 7% in 10 minutes and hitting that threshold. Those trading halt thresholds. So, and the underlying market was halting. Obviously, if the underlying market is halted, our contracts halt as well because we have nothing to price on them. So if you ever see contracts not pricing at times they should be, you can always click on this, check this little panel, and it will tell you if that's going on. We do, when that happens, it's very rare, but when that happens, we do usually put a little message in the platform itself. So you can also see it there. We have our exchange time. Exchange time is always going to show Eastern time. The reasoning for that is because all of the contracts themselves are in Eastern time. So it can be a little bit confusing. I do realize this. We are based in Chicago here, so obviously Nadex itself, where we're headquarters, is not in Eastern time. So it's something that is even confusing for people that work here sometimes. However, that is how we need to show it because all of the contracts themselves, all the expiration times are kept in Eastern. So just always remember that. And if you're really confused about when something is going to expire, you can always see how much time is left all over the platform. Here, everywhere. We have our available balance here and our total P&L. So up here, you can choose what you want to show. If you click on this, it's a little drop down. We have our available balance. That's how much money is actually available for me to trade. We have our account value. That's going to be how much money is available for me to trade plus the value of any positions that I currently own. So it's kind of the available plus the position value. We have our total P&L, our reserve. I'm not going to go through what all of these mean, but you can just add up to 3 of these at the top. So whatever you like to see, you can add them at the top. If you are curious or you don't know what some of these mean, you can always hit the information bubble, and it's going to give you a little blurb about what these different available account reserve balances are. You can also hide the value. Maybe you're trading on your phone, in a public place, at a library, I don't know, wherever you're trading. If you do want to hide those values, or maybe you're doing a webinar just like I'm doing right now, but you're doing it on your live account, and you don't want to see people to see how much money you have, you can hide those values out as well. So just a little thing there. Moving on, now we have our account section. This is where you're going to access a lot of the very important parts of your account that have to deal with how much money you're making, etc. So if I click on the account section itself, right, click on it, pops up. So first we have our account overview page. It's really just going to show you, how much you're available, position, reserve. It shows you this in this nice little circle graph here. Obviously on the demo, because I have $10,000, it's mostly making up by all available funds. But on a live account where you have a lot less and a lot more of your funds are actually in contracts currently, it's a fairly helpful breakdown of where all your funds are allocated. Moving on down here, we have our residential address and our contact details. This is not very important for the demo account. As you can see, in this account, I live in Tradertown, Alaska, which is not a place. But for the actual live account, it's very important that you keep these up to date because again, this isn't a real phone number and not a real email address. Even for the demo, I would say keep your email address and phone number updated just in case there's something that we really need to send you for this account, because this is like one of many test accounts I actually have on the exchange so that I can do everything I need to do here. I have a fake one here, but especially for your live account, extremely important to have this information up to date, just because, for example, we send out tax documents. We have to send those out physically. It's a requirement that our regulators put on us. So, if this isn't up to date, you won't get your tax documents to the right address. Same thing with this. If we really need to call you about something going on in your account or contact you about something going on in your account, it's very important that we have the correct email address and phone number in here. Moving on down, now on the live account, there's no wallet here, but on the demo account, there's no wallet here. On the live account, this is where you would find your wallet. So where you can put more money in, where you can take more money out of the exchange, right? You can add debit cards, add bank accounts, everything like that. That's going to be in this section on the live account. Because we are in demo today, you can't see that section here because obviously, you can't put real money into a demo account. Moving on down, we do have, and actually I want to go back to the account overview very quickly, because one thing I did forget to mention is that the way you would get more money into your demo account is this replenish balance button. So if you ever are out of funds in your demo account, you've lost a lot of money, and you want to get back up to that $10,000 point, you can hit replenish balance. You hit confirm to actually add more funds, and you can see that replenishment is successful. Now I have $10,000 in my available balance. If I go back here and I try again, it'll tell me I can only do this once every 24 hours. So just be careful when you're adding more, or I guess when you're trading. Don't go through $10,000 in 24 hours. Just generally, it's better to trade realistically in the demo account. That's the best way to learn, right? Moving on down, we have our history here. This is going to be the bread and butter of where you look at your history. You can show your transaction history or order history. I like transaction history just because that's going to show me the actual price points I got into the contracts. It takes out the order sent and order filled parts, right? Because it's just the transactions you got into. And I think that's more helpful generally at showing concisely what you're doing on the platform. You can also choose just trading activity or also fund history. The fund history is going to be, when you put, $300 into the exchange, or took 500 out of the exchange. And the trading activity is obviously trading activity. And then you can also choose how long you want to see. And then you can view your history or download it. There you go. You can see all the history I've been doing on this account. I really use this for webinars, so it's about every week or so probably that I put in trades on this. For actually getting your P&L, the best way currently, and this is something that we know that we need to improve and we're working on improving, but for right now, probably the best way to actually calculate your whole entire account P&L and see, over the lifetime or over certain periods how long, what you can do is you can actually download your account history. It's going to pop up a little Excel sheet down here. And while this opens up quickly, it shows you the same, it's really going to show you the same information that last thing was showing you. However, just kind of a little tip, little trick. On Excel, you can do equals sum. And then, I said sim, you can type in sum. You can click on it here, and then you can do this, right? You can just drag up and hit enter. This is going to give you, it's going to sum up this column, and that column should actually be your total P&L. Now, it's only going to be the P&L of the contracts that are currently ended, because it doesn't actually have these contracts here. These ones that are down here, these won't be represented in the in that P&L calculation. Actually, it will represent you paying to get into them, but because they haven't been exited, there's no, you haven't taken any profit from them. So that's why, if I actually exited this contract, it would probably be a little bit different here. But that's probably going to be the best way to get an entire account P&L right now. I know it's not the best user experience, and we are working on making that better. So I do apologize in the meantime, but for the meantime, this is probably going to be the best way for you to quickly calculate that account value. Moving back onto our account section here, we did really all of our history. we can go down to our statement. The statement is really just going to generate sort of a PDF or sort of an actual statement over the last 30 days. Excuse me, the last 30 days of your account history. So you can see it here. You know, pretty much what we just saw. That's going to show you everything. You also download that. It'll download it as a PDF if you would like to ever, download those statements. Moving on down, we have our contact us section. You can either email us or you can write to us. I wouldn't recommend writing to us because it's going to take forever to get there. We are back in the office a little bit now, so people will actually see those letters now. But again, I mean, look, just email us or live chat us. And I'll show you how to do live chat in just a second from the platform. Moving down here, we have our feedback. This is my favorite part of the platform because it lets you tell me how you feel about everything. You can say, I hate Nadex, I love Nadex, anything in between. I do love to hear both good and bad feedback, or if there's a certain, certain thing that we've implemented, you hate this feature, you like this feature, you think the feature could be better in this way, there's a feature you really want, tell us this in the feedback section. I do look at this every single day. This isn't just like a suggestion box that never gets opened. It generates a report that goes to me, goes out to some of management here, goes out to our developers and our development team. And a lot of the new features that we do end up adding are the more requested features from the feedback section. So extremely important, leave your feedback here on anything on the platform, anything you want. If there's something super, you really want and a lot of people are requesting it, we will kind of prioritize it a little bit higher. I won't sit here and tell you we will give every single thing anyone ever puts in here because that's unrealistic. But if you do want to say, I want stop losses, you can submit the feedback, and there you go. That'll go both over to our customer support team, and it also goes into a report that's generated that I'll see tomorrow. So I will see my own feedback that I want stop losses tomorrow. Moving on down here, we have our refer a friend. You do need to have a live account to enter the refer a friend program. It is a pretty good program. I will, if you would like to learn more, I would say go learn more. Click that button. I'm not going to go over the full refer a friend program in this webinar here because it would take a little bit too long. But if you would like to participate in the refer a friend program, make sure that you hit that learn more, open up a live account, and you can participate. You can send out a referral link on the live account. This area will have a referral link that you can copy and send to other people, and you can participate in that program. It does give you more funds to trade with if the people that you refer sign up, get a live account, and meet certain thresholds. But again, hit the learn more. Make sure you learn fully what you need to qualify and do for that refer a friend program. And then you have our log out button here. I'm not going to hit log out right now, but this is how you log out. It's at the bottom of the My Account section. And again, you get there by hitting the account section up here at the top. Very finally thing at the top right, we have our little demo button. This just shows you that you're on demo. You can't click on it or anything. And when you're on live, it shows you that you're on live. Make sure that you're fully aware of what platform you are on. Also at the top left, we have our Open Live Account button. This will take you to our application page if you do want to open that live account. So we've gone over the left-hand finder, the bottom, the right side, the top side. We're cruising here. So the last thing that we need to go over is going to be this left-hand panel past the the finder window. So this panel right here. I'm going to click hide here. So first of all, to get that panel to pop back up, we can hit our Markets tab. This is going to be where you see all your Markets tab. It's going to be the default tab that's up on your left-hand side when you first log into the platform. Moving on down, we have our Updates tab. We click this Updates tab. This is where you're going to get all the updates, all the news. You can see I have a little bubble here that says 2 because there are 2 new updates here. So you can see that the new updates here are going to be the holiday schedule and the rollover schedule. Those updates will come pretty much every week. If you want to look at what the holidays are affecting market hours for the next weeks, this will be posted here every week. Also, we do post stuff like, hey, there's a new feature. It's the max ROI and probability feature I told you about earlier. This is really where we're going to put messages in your platform to tell you about anything that's going on that you would need to know. As we move on down here, It's not really part of the side panel, but we do have this little how-to button here. You can click on this and you can actually go through and it'll actually guide you through some of the things you need to do in the platform. So if you are new and you don't know how to place a binary trade, you can say, okay, show me how to place a binary trade. It's going to guide you through kind of step by step, actually, placing a binary option trade. I'm not going to go through the whole thing right now, but it'll tell you to choose an expiration, yada yada yada. Again, not going to go through the whole thing, but it will kind of guide you through. I'm just clicking through everything right now. It will guide you through how to place an actual trade. There are these walkthroughs for a couple different aspects of the platform, and we are working on kind of fully fleshing that out. So I think it's really good. I actually really like learning this way. I maybe you don't, maybe you do, but these things they will guide you through the platform itself while you actually look at the platform. So there are a few walkthroughs in there as well. There are some articles that you can pop out too. So like how to short the S&P 500, pop it out, you can read that article. So that's going to be, those little walkthroughs. And again, we are working on adding more of those. Moving on down our left-hand side, we have our mobile app. So if you aren't aware, we do have a mobile app. However, it's not in the app stores. It's because of all these regulations with Apple and Google. But if you do ever want to get it and you haven't gotten it yet, what you can do is you can scan the pull my phone up here. You can scan the little, the QR code, and it's gonna take you to. There you go. It'll take you to the actual page where you can get the Nadex mobile app, and then basically it's going to take you to a screen. You can get it onto your phone, and if you want to learn more, you can learn more. So this is an easy way to actually get that app onto your phone because we do have an app. It's just not in the app store. The contact us button. When I hit this, I go over here. It's just a separate page. Now, if you do ever want to use live chat, sorry, accept this. Okay. You can hit this chat with an expert. This is going to be one of the fastest way to actually interact with the customer service team or actually get your questions answered. So you can always send us an email. However, if you want a really fast response, you can go in here. You can immediately be connected to one of our great customer service representatives who will help you out with anything you really need to know. So just an easy, quick way to contact us. I do have a question here. Okay, this is a good question actually. So very quickly, I'll go over this question. The question is, when will the daily charts behave as in the past, showing history? Now it's only a few days. That is a great question. So what happens with that? And I'll show what the person is asking about here. So if I go and let's say I go to daily, I'll show daily candlesticks. If I zoom out right now, you'll see on the US 500, I'm only showing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 days of data here, which seems strange, right? There's obviously more than 6 days of data for the US 500, right? Why this happens is because last Friday, all of our futures markets, not all of them, a lot of the futures markets and all of the US index markets rolled over, right? So the underlying for these markets, it's not the actual like spot market or cash market as it's called, it's the futures market. And so futures basically, they have an expiration date. So you can see that this futures, this is the US 500 futures for December. Every few months, our underlying market that you trade off of rolls over, right? So in a few months, it'll go to, I think the next one is the March. I think it's the March rollover is the next one. In a few months, it'll roll over again. And because this futures contract itself is actually its own sort of contract, and that contract just started, that's why you can only see this many days, right? Because the rollover just happened. So as more days are added on, you'll be able to see everything back until the previous rollover. When the next rollover happens, it will unfortunately again push the, kind of take away the amount of data, and that will happen with all the futures contracts when those rollovers occur. For the Forex contracts, you should be able to see basically however much you want to in the past, because Forex does not have that rollover because the underlying is not futures. For the futures, we are trying to work on sort of functionality that kind of pastes all those futures rollovers together, so you can get a whole, history that goes back further. It's just surprisingly hard to do from a technical standpoint. So we are working on getting that, but that is why you can't see the anything past like 6 days behind, because those futures contract, the underlying futures contracts, just rolled over last Friday. So that's why you can only see that much data. So yeah, that is a very good question. It's something that does come up whenever those futures rollovers happen. We are working on a way to try to make it so that you can see way further into the past, even though it's not that specific futures contract, if that makes sense. So moving on down, we have again our feedback button on the left-hand side. If that will just bring up the feedback thing again. Seriously, leave us our feedback. It's so important. We put it in here twice, so leave us our feedback. And then at the bottom left, we have our settings panel. So I'll quickly go over all of this. Let's see, we have about 8 minutes left. I'm not going to fully go into tolerance because it take a little bit more time, but you can't always learn about it. And we do have explanations on our website about what the tolerance is. It's the market order tolerance. And you can also see it here. Very basically, what happens is you can set the tolerance range. And if you do a market order, if it's outside that tolerance range, your contract won't get filled, right? So very basically what that means is if I'm sitting and I want to get into a binary contract, and binary contract's pricing at $40 on the buy side. And when I actually press buy, I want to get in at about $40. However, and especially in something like the 5-minute binaries, anyone who's traded that will notice that those fly up and down very, very quickly, right? Those can be very volatile contracts. And it can happen where, 1 second it's 40 or 1 millisecond it's priced at 40, and then the next one it's priced at 55. Well, I as a trader only wanted to pay $40 to get into that contract. If kind of between the time that you hit that button and it kind of travels to the back end of the exchange, gets matched, travels back to you, only takes a few milliseconds. But if in that time the price goes from like 40 to over $10 higher, so like 55, it actually won't get you into that contract because you didn't want to pay $55 for that. You only wanted to pay 40, right? And so if it's over $10 worse for you, it will not get you in. That's what the tolerance range is. And so you can move it down, right? So if you only want to get in like at $40, not at 41, you can move that down. If you only want to get in, if you want to get in up to like $65, if you hit it at 40, you can move it up. So the very basic explanation of what that is and what it does. I would recommend leaving it at 10 unless you really know, because let's say you move it down to 1 and then you're constantly not getting filled and you're getting mad at that. I've had people before say basically, why aren't you filling my contracts? And often it's because the tolerance level is set very, very low. It can help you, it can hurt you, but basically this is set up so that you aren't filled on a contract very much outside of what you actually wanted to pay at the market order. It is unique to Nadex just because, especially in some of our binary contracts, they can be so volatile that you can get it at something significantly different without that, if that would exist, if that makes sense. Moving on down here, we have our default order type. I have mine set to limit. You can set it to market. Basically, that just means if I click on this, the default is going to be limit, it's going to come up as market. If I click limit, it's limit. Pretty self-explanatory there. Default contract size. This is the default for when you actually click into a contract, what size you want to be defaulted to. I recommend leaving that as 1 and just moving it because you never want to, have it set in 10 and actually accidentally get into 10 contracts when you only meant to get into 1. There's really not much we can do to help if that happens because, we're not taking the other side of your trade. So we can't say, oh, it's a mistake. You've actually gotten into that trade with someone else, right? This is the session and activity. I set mine to like 12 hours. This is basically however long, if you haven't done anything on the platform, it will log you out. Maybe if you're trading like a public place, you want to set it to like 1 hour so that if you accidentally get up and walk away, that it will actually log you out quicker. But I'm always trading on my personal computer in a private setting, so I usually leave that pretty high because I don't like it logging me out. And then we have our theme here. I'm going to click light and it's going to burn my eyes. I know a lot of people do like light theme. I personally am a dark theme person all the way, so I always keep mine on dark. And then it's going to default to system. Again, the system one kind of reads what your Chrome has, and it sets it to that. But if you want to do light or you want to do dark, you can set it yourself in the settings panel. So that I know we're getting close to the hour here. That is really going to be everything for the actual platform itself. If you do want to stick around real quick, I am going to show you a new feature that we're working on here. While I'm getting that feature up, if you do want to have questions coming in, I did answer the one that we had here already, but if you do want to ask some more questions, I will answer those as they come through. So I am actually going to log into another super secret little area here where we have a new feature set up. This is not live yet. It's not in demo yet, but it is something that we've been building for a little bit, and probably in the next couple of weeks, it is going to be up. And that is the set profit target feature. So I think this is pretty cool. It's kind of like the close feature. So you've always been able to close out early. You've always been able to set your profit target on Nadex, but it's not always the clearest thing with how to do that. And I think especially I've talked to a lot of people on the phone. I actually used to be over on the customer service team many, many years ago. And I would talk to a lot of people on the phones that would not understand how to actually set the profit target. So what we're adding in is this little set profit target button. So you'll see it down here. This is the contract that I was already in. Ooh, I had this set to, there we go. This is the contract that I was already in that I was trading on the other screen. And so if I hit set profit target, this is actually going to set another little panel for me. And you can see I can actually move my profit target up or down. So I'm actually moving the closing price up or down. And because this is the sell side contract, I move it up or down, and it's the profit. The profit target is going up more and more. Let's do it on the buy side just so it's a little more intuitive. So as I move this up, we'll see my profit target is moving up. So let's say if I want to get out of this contract at a profit of 1150, let's do a nice even $12. So that's 750. So we can see I got in at $58.50. If this price goes up to $70.50, my profit would be $12. So I can actually set this profit target. There we go. We can see it shows on the position itself, right? And it shows in my working order. So this is the euro dollar. We see I now have a contract set at $70.50. If this contract ever gets up to $70.50, it will actually fill, and I'll get out at that profit of $12. So just a little feature. It's not necessarily new functionality because you have been able to do this previously, but it is I think a little bit clearer, a little bit easier to see. I'm pretty excited about putting it in here, just because we've done a little research sessions with some of our traders, and they've all quite liked it as well. And I hope all of you on this webinar are excited for it or like it when it gets in. Again, this is not in the platform yet. Likely this will be in demo either next week or the week after. So we are doing some final testing, some final bug fixing with all of this. It is pretty ready to go though. So watch out in demo for next week or the week after, and then live on the live training platform the week after that. So that's coming soon. That is going to be it for the platform webinar today. Thank you everyone for coming. While I wait for just a couple more questions here, I will put up the, oops, this always messes up. There we go. We'll put this up here, and we will go to this slide that I always do like showing at the end of our webinars here. This is going to be our email address. If you do want to contact us, you can always contact us at customerservice@nadex.com or live chat us. Live chat's going to be easiest, but customer service, if you're having a back and forth where you need to send larger things, might be better. If you are enjoying Nadex, check us out on Trustpilot. It does help us to give us positive reviews. Our marketing team always loves it when I tell you to do that. So go ahead and do that. And then here are our socials. We have Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, LinkedIn, all the goodies, all the grandies, all the main social media channels. I would recommend following on Twitter. I follow on Twitter mainly, and I think Instagram. I mean, actually, I think I follow us on all of these, but Twitter is the one I use most because if there is any sort of emergency things, we will put in the platform, but I generally see it earlier on Twitter a lot of the time. So do that. Also, our YouTube channel, we do have a YouTube channel. I think it's just the Nadex. You can always search it. This webinar will be up on YouTube here in the next few, not next few minutes, next few hours, it'll be up on YouTube. And you can also see all our previous webinars, all of our Monday morning analysis, all our morning analysis that's done every morning with the great Todd Rich and Brian Caprice. Go check out our YouTube. Lots of good stuff there, lots of informative videos. I don't see any other questions coming in, so I will wrap it up here by saying thank you all for joining me and sticking around to the end. I know this was quite a long one. I will plug, I generally do 2 of these every month. So next month, it'll be on Thursdays. It's usually the first and second Thursday of the month. I do a charting webinar and then the platform webinar again. So if you do want to stick around for the charting webinar, look out next month on a Thursday, or go to the YouTube channel, watch it there. Thank you all for coming to this. Thank you all for sitting here and letting me talk to you for about an hour. I hope you all have a great rest of your day and a great rest of your trading day. Have a good one, everyone.